Hello YouTube, this is LegoTech, and today we're going to be doing a review of this Athearn Genesis Tsunami 2 EMD gp9. The number here is 5692, and this, we'll get into the unboxing part of this video now. Sorry, this is a bit slow, but that's kind of how I usually take them off. After you unbox the locomotive, you can get a little flyer for Athearn news, something that I don't know why. Free advertisement. I prefer to not have all this paper. Just some legal warranty kind of stuff. Warranty card, something useful I would say, hold on to. And then we get into the gp7-gp9 kind of exploded parts diagram and kind of parts list. We kind of have a second sheet of that. Oh wait, variations, because each railroad had their own variation, and Athearn here is releasing the individual variations. Under that, we have a singular piece of foam, and you can see the cradle that the model comes in. Just move this, and this is a two-piece plastic cradle where the engine kind of just slides on out. Bada bing, bada boom. And there she is. Oops. And that's the beauty of this model. Move that out of the way. We have the model in its glory. And now let's get on to the history. So the EMD gp9 started production in 1954, and this was the successor to the EMD gp7. The EMD gp7 and EMD gp9s were very similar in aesthetic appearances, which was the reason that if you saw in the manuals it said from Athearn, they would say EMD gp7 or gp9. Aesthetics were very similar. I think it was just something with the fans here on the side that were different. However, with Southern Pacific, as this model is, Southern Pacific never owned any gp7s, except I think for one of their subsidiaries. I did research, it looked like they didn't own any gp7s. Anywho, with this model here, the gp9s were produced from 1954 to 1959 in the United States. However, in Canada, they were produced up until 1963. Down here in total production of the EMD gp9 was around 3,600 and something. Over 3,000 of these locomotives were made, a very good number at the time. And at the time, if I'm correct, this was the most produced locomotive in the U.S. And there was a good reason for that. If you bought one of these, this could replace any steam locomotive, because this was during the transition era. The GP stands for general purpose. You could use this for freight, switching, and there was even a passenger version of it, which was the gp9-gp-9-p, something like that. And those would have like the air tanks up top. You would notice the difference. Very few of those were produced, but this was the all-around locomotive you could use for pretty much anything. This model here was built in 1956, and if I'm correct, was in Southern Pacific's rebuild program from 1970 to 1979, and ran until the end of Southern Pacific. Of course, not carrying the Black Widow paint scheme that time. At that time, it was Bloody Nose. And with that, let's now get into all the details of the model. Now, I sadly do not know enough about diesel locomotives, so I apologize if I forget a lot of the details that you will be seeing in this section of the details. But let's go on. So I'm going to hold this model here for this moment. As you can see in the front of the model, we have a bunch of separately applied details. You have these Mars light up top. Oh wait. Mars light up top with the main headlights, full light package here. All these grab irons here are separately applied. The number boards here do light up, if I'm correct, when this does operate, and it does say SP up there to indicate its numbers. With the front end, with the Black Widow paint scheme, you can see the number 5692, which is the number this thing is set to. This thing has been upgraded to have KDs, because as much as Athearn will advertise as their McHenrys are good, they are not. Sadly, they are very unreliable, as my experience has been. But when I got this model, I had KDs. You can see as well as that the brake hoses here on both sides that are attached, as well as the handlebars. The nice thing about this Athearn model, which I have to give a lot of credit for, is the plastic grab iron supports here, because as you can see, I'm hitting them. They are moving, but they're not breaking, and they can be popped back into place, as you saw right there, which allows for this to be a bit more durable over time. You also can see here the front window here has a windshield wiper, and I will hold so you can get a proper view of the front. The back end of the locomotive is pretty much more or less the same, so we're going to go on to the side now with the side details. Obviously, we have the full truck package here, which you can see some of the air hoses for the brakes here. The number of the cab, with the windows here that do actually open and close. Now, granted, I'm not going to, you can see it opens right there. And you have the sunshades right there, which are adjustable. Radio-equipped logo, because around, I think, 1955 or something, Southern Pacific started to have radio equipment put into their locomotives, because with diesel locomotives, you could actually do that, fit a computer, because you had a lot of room up in the nose. That was a bathroom. The rest of the cab back here, this was where the engine was stored, obviously, because you could see the vents, and it had Southern Pacific on top of one another. I know some GP9s had the, instead of Southern Pacific on top of each other, it was Southern then Pacific, but this one, because it was 1956, I think, on top of one another. More vents and whatnot. The air tanks, because this is a freight version of the locomotive, and you can see the emergency stop button if something was to go wrong. And you can see the builder's plate on the back end here. More or less the same details as up front right here. However, you can see that there is a, if this can zoom in, the brake line for the locomotive. Lastly, let's go up to the top of the locomotive. You can see there's nothing really detail-wise up front. There is the horn right there, and then there's the vents with the exhaust stacks right there with more vents and whatnot. And more separately applied on details, which is the reason I'm going to be putting this back there. And I know that was probably the worst way to review this model. However, as I said, do not know the most about diesels compared to steam locomotives, and this is kind of being recorded on a bit of a lag. We are now going to get into the second to last phase of this video, the sound demo of this locomotive. So now I'm going to power this up with my DCS-51, and you're going to hear the startup sequence. Alrighty, we're now going to go off the list of the features here. Function 1 does the bell. Function 2 does the longer horn. You can hold that and have the horn go on for any amount of durability. Function 3 does the shorter horn. So if you want to do like shaving a haircut or like several horns, you can do that with function 3. Function 4, if I'm correct, doesn't really do anything. Now, set this to forward. The full light package comes on. Now, you would have to select function 0 to get the lower lights, but then function 5 for the upper lights that have the rotation and whatnot. I don't know how to activate the Mars light up top, but I don't really ever use that, so it's fine by me. Now we're going to have this thing decelerate going backwards, and then it's going to come back up forward so you can feel at least the acceleration. And so that's the sound demo for this model. Now we're going to get into the final part where I'm going to have a few clips of this running on my club layout, so you can see for yourself how this performs and how this looks in front of a mid-50s during transition era freight consist. So with that, thank you for watching, and enjoy the clips. Bye-bye.